Welcome back to Becoming Badass. I'm your host, Phoenix. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today, I have an amazing topic for you. We're going to talk about how do you start becoming the leader or hero or heroine in your own life. I'm going to share what prompted me to cut my hair that was all the way down the middle of my back and the huge transformation that it created, and how you start showing up as who you are instead of trying to be who you think other people want you to be and compromising yourself, and having the courage to go after what you want instead of waiting on permission or approval from others. And this is going to help you truly take the reins in your own life. Let's get into it. This podcast is going to help you learn how to stop playing small and people-pleasing and overgiving and being a good girl to find who you really are and start living as your true self, to become the freest, truest, most badass person of yourself so that you can get the love, respect, and fulfilling relationships that you desire. This is really, really so important because you never see Angelina Jolie's or Keanu Reeves' character just settle in their movies. No. They always get what they want because they're the leader in their own life. You're also not going to see them as a supporting character or the extra in a movie because they believe in themselves, even if it means pushing themselves. And how many of us love to stay in our little comfy, cozy comfort zone and not do anything that makes us feel uncomfortable or scared? But let me tell you, the loving, close, connected relationship that you want, the happy, fulfilling life that you want is on the outside of that comfort zone. We have to be willing to feel the fear and do it anyways. That actually is a title on one of my favorite books, because you may be unconsciously waiting for permission or approval to show up as who you really are or to go after the things you really want. You're not going to get the love and the life you want by waiting. And I wish that were so. I really do. But that is not the case. So let's talk about how we can start stepping up for ourselves and become the leader or the hero or heroine in our own life by starting to question why we do what we do, how we do it, by questioning everything. How I showed up for the longest time was to be liked and avoid rejection. So what I was doing was I cared more about safety than being who I was. And this was an unconscious thing. I didn't know I was doing this. So chances are you may be doing this too. You may be unconsciously waiting for approval or permission or to be loved to finally say, okay, finally, I can be me now. Finally, I can speak up. Finally, I can go after what I want. But I wasted so many years doing this. If we don't step up for ourselves, it's not going to happen. Because honestly, we're never going to be 100% safe. To be ourselves, to go after what we want, to have the life we want, to go after our dreams, it's never going to be 100% safe. Your brain is always going to do its best to keep you safe and keep you in your comfort zone, which means avoiding anything that could possibly be threatening. And literally everything new is threatening. But when you realize it's not actually going to kill you or really hurt you, it's just something that's new and may be uncomfortable, and you may get hurt emotionally, but stepping outside your comfort zone isn't going to physically kill you. Unless you're like base jumping or something, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about taking emotional risks to speak up, to stand out, to go after what you want, put yourself out there. This shit is scary. If you're waiting for permission or approval or for others to be happy with you, you could be waiting a long time and probably waiting forever. And that means living your life according to what other people have told you should do or what a good person does, being miserable, unhappy, unsatisfied, and just surviving is a complete waste. We're just putting our lives on hold until we get that approval or permission, and we're just living in reaction. We're not leading our lives. We are choosing to be safe instead of doing what we know is right for us, instead of doing what our soul is calling us to do. Because how are we going to make the important decisions? How are we going to speak up? How are we going to say no? How are we going to show up for ourselves and protect ourselves the way we should be doing and truly take care of ourselves every single day when we're so worried about getting approval and acceptance and validation from others? We won't be able to because we're waiting on others to give us what we're seeking. When you wake up to this pattern and then things start to shift and your whole life can change. So you can start leading your own life And you can finally start getting the acceptance, approval, love, validation, everything that you want. This is fundamental. This is going to change your life completely. It's going to help you do a complete 180 in your life. But as with everything, it takes practice. So I once heard a quote by the person who created NLP. And he says that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of questions that you're asking. So what are the questions that you're asking every day? Are you saying, are they happy with me? Are they angry? Did I piss them off? Am I doing something wrong? Am I good? Am I bad? How would you rate these questions? Now, let's go next level. Am I truly living to my potential? Am I fulfilled? Am I making an impact? Am I living my purpose? You see, these questions are so much bigger and they have a greater impact on your life and those around you. So think about the quality of questions you're asking yourself every single day. If you're anything like me, when I was in my people-pleasing and giving mode, which was decades of my life, I was thinking about, oh no, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to upset them. I don't want them to be uncomfortable. So you know what? I'm just going to give them what they want, and maybe they'll give me what I want. And then when that didn't happen, because it's not going to happen, because you're going to be attracting people in your life who take, because when you're giving, you're going to attract takers. So what ended up happening is I was giving and they were taking, and it was endless. And I would ask myself, why aren't I getting what I want? And then when I still kept trying, doing it the same way by giving, hoping I would finally get what I wanted, then I would say, well, maybe I'm not deserving of what I want. Maybe I'm not enough. And then it would be, I guess I'm not important. I don't matter. They don't value me. You see how low quality those questions are? And now wherever you're at is totally fine. I accept and love you wherever you're at. So don't beat yourself up or feel bad where you're at. We're all on a different path. We're all in a different spot on our journey. Some at the beginning, some at the middle. So please don't use the information I'm giving you to beat yourself up or think you should be somewhere that you're not. You may be thinking, I should be further than this. But let me tell you, where you're at right now is the perfect place to be. And I find that very soothing to say to myself, the inner perfectionist in me. I started feeling like I should be doing more because, you're relentless with how you talk to yourself as a perfectionist. You expect only the best and you can't accept any faults in yourself. And when you mess up, when we don't say the perfect thing or act the perfect way, then you're beating yourself up. Okay. So when I started saying this to myself, and this may help you too, that when you start feeling anxious and fearful and thinking I should be doing more, why am I still struggling with this? What helps me so much is by saying to myself, what I'm learning and the challenges I have in my life right now, I'm supposed to be having. Everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to be. Nothing has gone wrong. I am in the exact right place. And that's choosing to see the things that are happening in your life, the challenges, the hardships, the heartaches, the pains, they're supposed to happen. They're there to teach you a lesson. And when you can get on board with this, then life is no longer a struggle. You just see as, okay, this is part of my journey. There are highs and there are lows. And this is supposed to teach me a lesson that will actually make my life easier and happier. And it will pass. I'm not going to be in this place forever. A lot of us are living our lives to avoid pain and getting hurt and rejection. But that's not living. That's just surviving. I want to invite you to start small and find out what's the main reason that you're doing everything you're doing. And then gradually start getting bigger and saying, well, why am I fixing my hair like this? Why do I wear makeup like this? Why am I talking like this? Why am I showing up this way? Why am I insert whatever you typically do? Whether that is overgiving or working yourself into the ground or working 80 plus hours a week or bending over backwards for your kids or putting up with things that inside you really shouldn't put up with, and start figuring out what is the reason why you're doing that. And then we can start digging deeper and asking ourselves, what would bring me joy right now? What am I longing for? What is the change I know I need to make that I haven't had the courage to make? So I'd love for you to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I living my life this way? Why am I not going after what I want? So we need to start asking more questions so we can start getting what we want.
when I started asking myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I getting anything out of this? Is this really serving me? And then, how can I get the fulfillment and the happiness I really want? How can I start living my life for me? How can I become a better mom? How can I start living my purpose? These questions were the key to me having a life full of peace, joy, and happiness that I have now that I could have never had before when I was just worrying about upsetting others and trying to avoid rejection.
I'd like to invite you to ask yourself, why am I doing everything I'm doing? What is your big why? Why we're doing what we're doing, why we're living our lives the way we're living it, so we can start getting the life and the love and the relationships and all that good, yummy, juicy stuff that you want. When you're ready to start getting the love and the amazing, close, connected relationship that you really long for in your life, then check out my cheat sheet below. I'm going to show you exactly what I did that changed everything in my life so you can reignite the love in your current relationship or find the amazing, fulfilling relationship that you deeply desire. When you can start asking more questions, why am I showing up this way? Notice the role you're playing with each person. You may notice that in different environments you're acting different, okay? Because you're changing how you show up for the different people you're around. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with how you're dressing, your hair, and all that stuff, but I'm saying, why did you make that decision? I know me personally growing up, I lived in an extremely strict household that everything was dictated to me. And that environment required so much suppression that I felt like I was suffocating. Every single day, there were rules upon rules. The rules had rules, and there was no opportunity. There was no space for me to be myself. So as an adult, I still lived in that box that was created for me as a child. I still lived in that role of a perfectionist and a pleaser and a giver because that's how I survived as a child. And until I learned to start questioning everything, nothing changed. I remember one time as a kid, I told them after they made lunch, I said, I don't like this. And they flew off the handle and were extremely critical and shaming of me. And I learned, hey, I can't speak up. I need to shut up and just do what I'm told. Because as children, to survive, we need approval, acceptance, and love just to survive our environment. So everything you're doing now, if you haven't questioned it, it's just an offshoot from the environment you grew up in. So I'm saying question everything. Like in that strict Christian background, my feminine identity was tied to my hair. My hair used to be below my bra in the middle of my back, very long, very beautiful, really soft. I had beautiful hair. But it never felt like me. It never felt right. As you can see, that my hair is extremely short now. I felt if I cut my hair that I wouldn't be feminine. So much of how we show up every single day is dictated by what we're told as children that become beliefs that we don't even think about anymore. It's just the way it is. And what these are beliefs that have become invisible. So I believed if I cut my hair short, which I was longing to do for years, I felt very drawn to it. And you may think, oh, this is something simple hair. No, hair is a very big deal for many people. It was a very big deal for me. So this isn't trivial at all. For women, your hair is a big deal, okay? It changes how you see yourself. So if your hair is plain and simple, then you may feel plain and simple. So how you choose to dress and look and do your hair every single day has a big impact on how you feel about yourself. So if I didn't have the guts and the courage to cut my hair because of my childhood programming that I felt this inner urge to do for years, okay, then I was letting what I was taught as a child control my life now. So you can't be the leader of your own life if you don't start questioning the way things are. Like, do you think to yourself, well, this is just the way things are. This is just the way my parents are. This is the way my friends are. This is the way my boss is. Whatever. Start questioning that. Because if you're dealing with things that hurt you, that are uncomfortable, that you feel internally is wrong, and you keep chalking up to this is the way things are, It means you've accepted the unacceptable as normal. When the unacceptable has been your normal, then you don't know there's something wrong. You could be in a toxic relationship or in a toxic environment and not even know it's wrong because that was normal to you growing up. So learn everything that feels uncomfortable, it feels wrong, it feels bad, and you may have a niggling sense of doubt internally that says, I don't like this. Like something's not right here. Question it. Learn to question everything. Remember, the quality of questions you ask yourself determine the quality of your life. Start asking bigger questions. Start asking higher quality questions. And whatever the answer is, notice, is the answer because somebody told me to do this? Because that's the way it's always been done. Because that's the way my sister or brother or mom or dad told me to do it. Or that's the way my aunt said that was the right way. Or that's how my role model does it. And I want you to take it a step further and think, well, what do I want? In order for me to challenge this idea that I had to have long hair to feel feminine, I had to go against that programming that felt like it was the truth. And let me tell you, it wasn't the truth. It was not the truth. I actually feel more like myself with short hair. And with long hair, I didn't feel like me. And this is the amazing part. When you start questioning, yes, it's very uncomfortable. So I want you to think about literally opening your arms to the discomfort because this is the work. If you don't start questioning the way you've always done things, then you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. So if you're not happy, if you're not satisfied, if you're not getting what you want, then we have to start questioning the way it is, the way it's always been done, and start finding out why we're living our lives this way. Why are we showing up this way? And be ready for some very interesting information, and it can be painful. So when I actually cut my hair and I started doing it in stages, I was so scared. I had this really cool and edgy and asymmetrical haircut, and I took it to the hairdresser. I'm like, this is what I want. And I was scared shitless, and she did it, and I felt so much freedom. And then I took it a step further, and I found this beautiful pixie haircut that's shaved underneath and has an undercut, kind of like Pink's haircut, but longer with the bangs. And I felt so much freedom after getting my hair done, after cutting it the way I wanted to for years. And that's what you're going to feel when you're willing to challenge the discomfort. You will get freedom. Think about that. Isn't it worth it? Yes, it's worth the discomfort. It's worth people looking at you funny and not liking it. Who the F cares? It's your life. Who cares what people think? People probably think I'm gay, and I don't give a shit. I don't care because I realize that I want to be myself, and that means looking the way I want to look and feeling the way I want to feel. And so I cut my hair and I dress the way I want in order to feel the way I want to feel. When you start finding out why you're doing what you're doing in these different aspects of your life, you will get so much information. And notice what your soul, what your inner guide is telling you. Notice what longings, what things you have felt wrong for a while that you keep doing because you think that's the right way, that's what a good person does. All that's BS, but that's your programming. So when you start challenging that, just notice the discomfort and notice, you know what? There's freedom on the other side of this. I just have to stay the course. I have to take the risk of being uncomfortable because these things are ingrained in you. It's not like flipping a light switch. It's going to take time. There are layers. There are many layers to this onion. And when you love yourself, truly love yourself, you're willing to go through the discomfort to find your true self. Because think about it. You're buried under all that suppression. Under all those layers is really you, is a part of you that wasn't allowed to exist as a child. And it needs your love, approval, acceptance, validation, and care. It needs you to take care of it. It's buried under all those layers, and you need to save it, to rescue it. You become your own hero, okay? So when I confronted that programming, well, I have to have long hair in order to be a woman, in order to be feminine. Like, am I going to look like a man without long hair? You know, I don't feel like that at all. I just feel like me. So what I did was I reclaimed me, who was buried under all those rules and suppression and limiting beliefs. And I became more of myself. So we want to be in charge of our own lives and do stuff because Well, I dress this way because it feels good. I have my hair cut this way because I like it. I have this type of job. I'm going to school for this type of education. I have these goals because this is what I want. Not just because someone has told me to do it this way, not because I think it's the right way, or because that's the way my role model did it, or because that's the way a good person does it, or that's going to please other people. No. Fast forward 50 years from now, are you going to be happy living like that? I see it this way. Let's say it's a game and there are 100 levels on the game and you can only go up to level 10. With the way your thoughts are now, when you keep doing the programming and everything that you've already been trained to do, okay, baby, you're only going to get to level 10. So if you want to go beyond level 10 and start getting what you want, let's say what you want level 15, you're going to have to challenge these old beliefs. You're going to have to challenge them. And you can come from the place of, you know what, I'm doing this because I love myself. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of being told what to do, waiting for permission, wanting to get outside approval and acceptance. That's why I'm feeling this way. That's why I'm unhappy. You deserve an amazing life, but no one's going to give it to you. So when we can start living our lives based on going after what we truly want, not from what society, our family, our environment is telling us we need to do, or we should do, or that's the right way to be, or the good way to be, we can finally start getting what we want and living a life that makes us feel good and will give us happiness and fulfillment. But it's not going to work the other way around. When we're doing everything to make other people comfortable, happy, to please them, then we're not in control of our lives. And we can't ever hope to be happy because we're not living our lives for ourselves. We're living our lives for others. That's why we're unhappy, unsatisfied. When we do this, we are no longer at the mercy of others, and we can finally show up and lead our own lives and make choices that benefit us and serve us. And this was very challenging for me to start to do. But when I did it, whoa, I changed the game. And you can too. And finally, you can start actually getting what you want. I remember when my whole mode every single day was to people please and be perfect and to give and to sacrifice. And that's how I was showing up. I never got what I wanted. And oh man, it was so frustrating. And you may be dealing with this too, that you're like, I'm never getting what I wanted, because that is just an extremely frustrating thing to be dealing with. Because here's the thing, when you're a giver and helper and a pleaser, you can decide I'm either going to get what I want or they're going to get what they want. I'm giving and I'm there for others and I'm putting other people first, but I'm unhappy and I don't want to keep sacrificing myself and putting everyone first and myself last. I realize that this isn't serving me. Yes, it makes me feel safe, but I'm not getting what I want. And how we operate in the world when we're being selfless, giving, prioritizing other people, and putting ourselves last, that what they want is more important than what we want. That's why you're not getting what you want. And when you can learn to show up, truly show up for yourself, then you can start getting what you want. When we learn to start prioritizing ourselves and our own happiness, everything can truly change. And to start getting what you want, that's the tip of the iceberg, baby. There's so much more to this than that. But you no longer have to be frustrated and stay stuck feeling like, man, I never get what I want and I'm always coming last. I used to be so filled with fear, anxiety, and felt bad every single day. I no longer struggle with those, but I know what it's like to live in that struggle. I know what it's like to feel that I can't go any further, but you can. You can't go any further thinking the way you're thinking and continuing to do what you've been doing. You have to challenge yourself to go beyond that, to ask better questions and bigger questions so that you can start getting what you want. When we start deciding to live our lives for our actual own comfort, happiness, and fulfillment instead of for others, we're choosing to live a life that we can feel proud of instead of for safety. That's why we're doing all this stuff. That's why we're twisting ourselves in a pretzel to be safe. But when you make a choice that, you know what, I'm going to start living my life to get what I want and for my own happiness, comfort, when you make that pivotal choice, you know what, I matter enough. I love myself enough. I'm deserving to get what I want. But first I got to challenge these old beliefs, the way things are. To do that, and I'm willing to go through the discomfort and I take baby steps every single day to get what I want, to have dreams, then let me congratulate you. You have started taking the reins of your own life. And you just have to make this decision every single day. 3 months, 6 months, a year, your life could look completely different. But it starts with you taking those risks every single day. They start off small and you can work up to the bigger ones. So it's really challenging. How do you stop showing up in a way to try to be safe? Like, what do you do? Like, safety is the bare necessities. Safety is a must, right? And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next episode. So tune into the next one. You're going to love it. You can become the badass you've always wanted to be. Punch fear in the face and live life on your own terms. Till next time.